The Ford N-Series tractors were a line of farm tractors produced by the Ford Motor Company between 1939 and 1952, spanning the 9N, 2N, and 8N models. The 9N was the first American-made production model tractor to incorporate Harry Ferguson's three-point hitch system, a design still used on most modern tractors today. It was released in October 1939. The 2N, introduced in 1942, was the 9N, with some features changed or removed due to the restraints of wartime manufacturing. The 8N, which debuted in July 1947, was a largely new machine featuring more power and an improved transmission. By some measures, the 8N became the most popular farm tractor of all time in North America. Over 500,000 units of the 8N were sold worldwide. The Ford 9N, a very revolutionary tractor, would be produced in 1939 by two engineers, Henry Ford and Harry Ferguson. Henry Ford built the 9N tractors with the incorporation of the Ferguson three-point hitch system, which followed on from the famous handshake agreement. Introduced in 1939, the Ford 9N was powered by a Ford 2-liter 4-cylinder gasoline engine, or was also available with a distillate version. It had a displacement of 119.7 cubic inch and could produce 23 horsepower at the belt. The 9N was equipped with a 3-speed gearbox that gave the operator 3 forward, 1 reverse gears, and at the time you could also add a Sherman transmission, which was either a step-up or step-down. The most common was the step-up transmission, which gave you a sort of high-low option with a faster ground speed. On the 9N, it would go from a 3-speed to a 6 forward, 2 reverse gearbox. The very first 9Ns to roll off the production line featured cast aluminum hoods and grills, since they were available sooner than the steel ones. There was around 700 tractors that had these shiny aluminum hoods and grills. They are very rare and sought after by collectors today. Throughout its production years, the 9N would see many different changes, such as a neutral interlock starter button, hinged battery cover, freeze plugs on the engine block, heavier duty lift cylinder, and a lube line for the governor. With around 99,000 9Ns being built, it remains an icon of farming history and innovation. The Ford 2N. After many revisions of the 9N, it was relaunched as the 2N in 1942. The 2N still came in dark gray, but now had added improvements, including a larger cooling fan and a pressurized radiator. However, the 2N, like the 9N, still had only a 3-speed transmission, a disadvantage compared to many tractors at the time, such as the Farmall A and M. By this time, wartime regulations had imposed manufacturing economies, and some 2Ns were sold with steel wheels, aluminum radiator cores instead of copper ones, and magnetos instead of batteries. Introduced in 1942, the Ford 2N was powered by a Ford 2-liter 4-cylinder gasoline engine. It had a displacement of 119.7 cubic inch and could produce 23 horsepower at the belt. Introducing a new model name allowed Ford to increase the price of the tractor. Wartime price controls prevented the 9N from getting a price increase. Due to the 2N not having any pricing history, this allowed Ford to set a new higher price on the tractor. Despite the model name change, the serial numbers continued to be prefixed with 9N. After the war, the steel wheels and magneto system were replaced with rubber tires and batteries. The Ford 8N. Production of the 2N stopped in July 1947, and production of the new 8N model took over. With a new paint scheme, it would be one of Ford's best-selling tractors. Although similar to the 2N, the 8N differed in some ways, with a new 4-speed gearbox over the 2N's 3-speed gearbox. And another big improvement was that both brake pedals were located on the right side of the tractor, allowing the operator to use the clutch and both brakes at the same time. Introduced in 1947, the Ford 8N was powered by a Ford 2-liter 4-cylinder gasoline engine. It had a displacement of 119.7 cubic inch and could produce 23 horsepower at the PTO. Previously, all other N model tractors had front-mounted distributors, but in 1950, the 8N was fitted with a side-mounted one. This made working on the distributor that much easier. The Ford 8N was a symbol of post-World War II farming prosperity, offering an affordable yet reliable solution for farm tests. With 524,000 units being built, the Ford 8N's legacy endures as a beloved classic in the history of American farming. and a true pioneer of agricultural innovation.